The good old to-do list debate. This one is as old as time, or as old as paper and pen has been around. I've been on both sides of this great to-do list debate. Should we have lists? Should we not have lists as moms, and especially as homeschool moms? But having lists has really helped me to be a more effective homemaker and homeschool mom. Having some lists, some very strategic lists, not just all kinds of things, but it has given me peace to clear out my brain so that I have more peace and that I can be more calm and I don't have to try to remember everything and I don't miss the important things and I don't waste time. That's a big one too with the lists. Say you don't have a list for the grocery store and you go, you're probably going to forget some things, right? And so I want more peace, more space in your brain, more margin within your days. And that's why I'm doing today's episode. Welcome to Little by Little Homeschool Podcast, where we talk anything and everything homeschool and all that encompasses the homeschool lifestyle. I'm your host, Leigh Nguyen. I'm a mom who never intended to homeschool, and suddenly I am here, 14 years later, with 2 homeschool graduates and 1 more to go. No matter where you are in your homeschool journey, Little by Little Homeschool seeks to empower and encourage you to carry out this amazing calling of home educating and discipling your children. It's not always easy, but I'm here to walk alongside you because I promise that these years are worth all of your effort. Grab that load of laundry that needs folded, settle in at a kitchen sink to wash those dishes, or tie up those walking sneakers, and let's get into today's topic. Many years ago, I was introduced to this great to-do list debate. My kids were all younger, and a pastor's wife, friend of mine, she had given some list advice, and she said that she was no longer going to do to-do lists. And she said that they were a bad thing and that they were not good for moms to have. And so I was like, okay, well, I'll try it. She feels convicted about this. And I don't think she was saying that it was a sin thing or anything. And I'll kind of explain where her mind was in just a moment. And so I was like, okay, it's better to just kind of be a bit more free. Then I'm not going to have any lists. And guess what? I failed. Maybe it was her personality was better inclined to not having lists, and maybe mine is better inclined to having it. And I'm not quite sure if she ever went back to lists or not. Isn't it funny how somebody says something and it sticks with you so many years later? She probably won't even remember that she said this. And maybe she doesn't use lists and she might be like, oh yeah, I kind of remember getting rid of it. And I've lived so many years since then that it's not even a big deal to her. Or maybe she did go back and she might not remember that experiment and that I tried doing it as well. And it just didn't go well for me. And so her concern with having a to-do list was that she was kind of bordering on the lines of worshiping her to-do list. It was directing her day. She was forsaking her duties as a mom and as a wife because she had a list of tasks to do instead. And so, yes, then you are moving into a territory where something is not serving you, you are serving it. And I think that right there is key. I think you can have to-do lists and not serve the to-do lists, but it depends upon the way that you're approaching it, your mindset, your perspective on it. So if you are hesitant, you're like, I don't want to-do lists because I become very militant about them, then that is where you need to lean in and pray on and say, okay, I'm missing things, I'm forgetting things, and I'm not carrying through with things. I'm wasting time. I'm going to the grocery store multiple times a week or every single day because I don't remember things. How can I find somewhere in that middle ground? And I think that's the key right there, is finding that middle ground and finding that balance. And finding that balance will hopefully lead you to like, okay, my lists are a guide and they can take some of the load off, but they aren't the director of my life. I don't answer to these lists. I don't have to do them. The world will not end if you don't complete your to-do list before the end of the day. Trust me, I know that. I've had some very long to-do lists, and sometimes mine are like dream to-do lists, but I get them out of my head. And so right now, I'm going to share with you 4 of my favorite lists, the things that help me not to lose my mind as a homeschool mom, to keep things out of my brain so I have a little bit more margin. I can be a little bit more present. I can have more peace. I can just enjoy my day knowing that I don't have to try to remember all of these things. Now, this is going to be besides having a calendar or any of that kind of stuff. If you're interested in kind of hearing my system of how to keep track of that, like where everybody has to be, when, and what the family is doing, I can talk more about that some other time. But this is just in general some lists that I have going at all times. And don't be overwhelmed, okay? You can take these one at a time. If you're just like, I'm feeling overwhelmed and I'm missing things and I want to start adding lists, you do not have to start and do all of these at one time. So some of my favorite homeschool lists are having my goals for that homeschool year written out. Having lists of books, whether these are books I want to cover in our morning time or reading books, books that I have that I would want my children to read throughout the year, or writing down books that they did read, because I'm so glad I did that. I kept such meticulous lists I actually had my kids compile the list of books that they read, that it was easier to be able to find books than for the younger ones, because I was like, oh, we have these written down from your older sibling. So I enjoy books, lists when it comes to homeschool, when it comes to my goals. When you work through your goals, and then as you're going in day by day, taking a look at your homeschool and just doing the thing, you can easily forget, what were those goals that I set when I sat down and really thought about the homeschool year last summer? And here we are in December. And you're like, I don't remember what those goals were. Well, if you have those written down, you won't be able to forget them. And you can periodically go back and double check and say, okay, are we working towards these goals? But you can also say, you know what? Our goals have changed. They shifted. And so let's cross that one off and let's come up with some new goals, or let's reduce the goals, or let's add to the goals. That's totally fine to do. So lists of books and resources and curriculum that you want to do. I am not somebody who plans out meticulously what we are doing every single day and saying, okay, on day 60, we are going to be doing lesson 60 or whatever in this, or be doing certain lessons and these certain units. And this is the experiment we're going to be doing. I don't start off in July, August planning out what we're going to be doing. I have an idea of what I want to cover, and I kind of just let the chips fall where they're going to fall. I know that we're diligent, and little by little, we work at it every day. But I don't plan it out exactly. So I have a list of books and resources and curriculum. It might be the curriculum that sometimes there's a curriculum like, okay, this will last us maybe half of the year. And then I want to follow it up with this. In high school, in our state, they have to do like half of a unit of government, a half a unit of economics. So I might say, okay, half of this year, we're going to be doing government and getting that credit done. But then I have on my list what I want to use for the second half of the year when we go into the economics, because I've thought through it all the way. There's no reason in December to be scrambling for us to kind of start something new in January or February. If you need some help with curating these lists of goals, the books, the resources, the curriculum, and how your homeschool will fall into place, that's where your homeschool blueprint will come into play. So if you're like, okay, I need some lists, I need to get a little bit more organized. And again, you don't have to be hyper organized. If you want to be, you may. But if you don't want to be, if you're a little bit like me and you're just like, okay, we're going to see how things kind of land. And somehow every year, everything seems to land and we get to cover the things that are the most important. So you're going to go find some more information at your homeschool blueprint. The link is going to be in the show notes, and everything's at littlebylittlehomeschool.com. And then you can just go to the menu and find that. My second list, that's, the list that's on my favorite, is having a meal plan. And going along with that, a grocery list. Every week, I sit down and come up with a meal plan for the week. And so there is no question as to, what are we eating for dinner tonight? What are we eating for dinner tomorrow night? Now, there's been different seasons where I've been very like, okay, this is what's on Monday night. This is what's on Tuesday night. This is on Wednesday night. And sometimes in some seasons, I said, okay, here are 7 different dinners, and we are just going to kind of see how the week falls and figure out which one is going to be best for which night, because we don't really quite know what's going on. And so going along with that is a grocery list. As I run out of things, I put it on the list. I don't expect that day that I work on my meal plan and work on my grocery list to remember that I need more flour. I know that I will not remember it. And so I think a lot of these lists is just understanding that there's only so much that we can keep in our brain in order to stay on track and moving our family forward, that if we just simply write it down somewhere, we don't have that stress of trying to remember. So I'll write down, I'll be like, okay, I see that we only have about 3 onions left, and I usually like to have at least maybe half a dozen on hand at all times. And so I will write down onions on my list, whether it is 4 days before grocery shopping or the day before grocery shopping or the day right after I went grocery shopping and I realized, oh, we need onions. So I will write that down on a running list and then compile that running list into an actual grocery list of what I need to get at the grocery store. If you are struggling with coming up with a meal plan, you need something that's simple, then I'm going to encourage you to go over and check out my simple meal plan ebook guide. The link is also in the show notes for that. And also, of course, that's always on my website. But that is just a very quick and simple way of showing you how to come up with a meal plan for the different season. Now that we are in winter, I like to change up my meal plan and come up with just cozy things. And the fall came, it's like, okay, some soups and just some chilies and that kind of stuff. You don't have to do that if you don't want to do it, but having a meal plan so that therefore I can get everything that I need for those meals so that I'm not running to the grocery store more than one time in a week. My third list is our chore list. I just have a rinse and repeat system, which is the tidy home. And I know exactly what needs to be accomplished every single week. And I know what needs to be accomplished in different seasons. In the fall, I have a bunch of things that need to happen, especially outdoor stuff, getting ready for winter. In the winter, I have some specific things. Like, for example, I like to get our basement good and cleaned out in the winter because it's cold. We're snowed in. That's a perfect time to do it. I don't necessarily want to do that in the summer. I'd rather be doing outdoor stuff. But just even if you don't have margin for that, you're like, I don't really care about the basement, that's fine. In the tidy home, I walk you through so that you can decide what are the important chores and things and the tasks that need to happen. Do I want these to happen daily? Do I want them to happen weekly? Do I want them to happen once a month? Do these now need to happen quarterly? But having a chore list means that I know that the things that I want to get done around the house are going to get done. I know that the room that I'm sitting in right now, I'm like, it's a little bit dusty. But guess what? I actually have on my list right now that it's supposed to be dusted this week at some point. So when I have the time. So I also use that chore list, and it's not specific, okay, on Monday I have to do this, Tuesday I have to do this. And you can get that specific if you want when you create your actual rinse and repeat system through the tidy home. But you don't have to be like that. I'm not either, because my weeks can be different every single week. And I might say, you know what, I don't have any time this week, but I'm just going to do the majority and the bulk of it on Saturday. And I 100% advocate for your children helping out with that. So having a chore list of having a list of things that need to happen makes life go so much smoother. And all of those little tasks and those chores and the things that are messy, you know that you'll get to them. And your kids can have chore lists. I mean, that was so important with my kids. I got tired of actually telling them what to do. So if they had a chore list or they had some type of something telling them what to do, it was one less thing that I needed to tell them to do. They knew what to do. They could go and do it when they had the time, or we had the time blocked out to do chores. So chores, favorite list of mine. And my last list, I don't have a resource necessarily for this. This is just something that I have done for years. And currently it's sitting, I've had it in different places. Currently it's sitting in our dining room, which is just central, just off of our living room, our main entry. It's somewhere that I'm all the time. I just have a notepad sitting there. And it's just as kind of a running list of things that I would like to do. So oftentimes it'll maybe be as the day is going on, or at least in the evening, I might say, oh, tomorrow I really want to do this. So for example, things so I don't forget. So for example, I have maybe some Amazon returns, and I know that the deadline's coming up for that. And I'm like, okay, I really only have tomorrow to get it done. It has to be there by Friday in order for me to get my refund, but I really only have tomorrow to do this. So therefore, I'm going to go and do it tomorrow. Actually, as you're listening to this episode, it's probably a Thursday, so that'd be Friday. So let's give a better example. I'll say to myself, oh, I know it has to be there by Monday, but I don't have any time over the weekend. And Monday's kind of pushing it. So I'm going to actually get it returned tomorrow on Friday. But little things that are just kind of bothering. Maybe it's something that I want to look up that I'm thinking of at night. My phone is shut off, or I don't want to be on my phone in the evening. I'm like, oh, I'll write down, research this. Or if I know that I need to make a phone call or make a doctor's appointment, or it might be actually some random chores or something that I just thought of that aren't necessarily on my chore list, or they might be on my chore list and be like, girlfriend, you got to get that done tomorrow. I will just write it on that list. And again, this list and all of these lists, it's not a do or die. If you don't keep these lists, It's not a do or die. Your life can still be absolutely fine, and it's not something that dictates my day. I will find in this through the cracks of the day as my day goes along. So say, for example, you have everybody, they are working on their math right now. And you're like, okay, I probably have about 5-10 minutes until the first child is going to be done and I need to check the work. And you might take a look at that list and say, you know what? I actually need to make 2 phone calls and I could probably get that done in that 10 minutes. Or you might say, you know what? I have this certain chore that I want to do and I know I can get that done in that 10 minutes. And I'm not saying you have to fill up every moment. It's always fine to just sit there and just be and be quiet. But you might say, you know what? I've got some energy. I want to get some things done. It's the holiday season. I don't want to be working on any of this stuff as we get closer to Christmas. And so you're like, I've got 10 minutes to go ahead and do this. And you can just take a look at that list. So that's what I do through the cracks of the day, is just kind of work on those things. So after this episode is done, I will kind of check on, see what my youngest is up to. I think he's editing some videos right now. So I'll check to see what he's up to on that. And then I have maybe about 15 minutes or so before I have to start on dinner. And so I know there's a couple things to do. I know there's at least one phone call I need to make. I do not like making phone calls, but if I write it on my list, guess what? I'll make that phone call just so I can cross it off my list. It's kind of a fun thing about lists, is crossing them off and saying, okay, we've done that. But keep in perspective that lists are not the end all be all. They should not be dictating your day. Use them as a resource, as a guide. It's not the director of the day. It is a useful, helpful tool so that you can continue to be an effective and intentional homeschool mom. All of those resources that I mentioned are in the show notes, and now is a great time to go ahead and grab any of those and to work on those. So there's your homeschool blueprint, there's a meal plan, and the tidy home. I hope that you take advantage of 1, 2, or 3. Actually, I'd say just start with 1. What's the one that's just kind of bothering you the most? Do you need to get meals figured out? Do you need to get your homeschool figured out? Do you need to get your chores figured out? Figure out which one is going to give you that, okay, that accomplished feeling. I've gotten that in order, and then get really good at that. And you can add into the next resource. So all those links are in the show notes. You can always go to littlebylittlehomeschool.com. But that is how lists have helped me not lose my mind as a homeschool mom. Thank you so much for listening to today's episode. If it was just what you needed to hear, would you do me a favor and share it with a friend? And if you would like to connect more, social media links and more are in the show notes just for you. I promise to see you back here real soon.